Hey friends, Matt and Erica here with a Spoonful Studio update. We checked in, I think, about a month ago, just to say, hey, we're processing some things, thinking about the future, and we would be back with an update. So we are here to do that today. And so Erica, take it away. Rough pitch.
I was gonna say there's no easy way to say this, but we are in the very beginning stages of dissolving Spoonful Studios. It's been quite a process to get here, but we feel that this is the next right step.
So I know what's probably the hardest thing is, for some of you who are hearing this, you're hearing it for the very first time. And this is something that we've been processing through, wrestling through, fighting through, crying about for really months and months. I would say as we kind of came out of COVID and things started to reopen up, you were really asking some of the very deep questions of what is next? Can I keep doing this? And I think at that time you didn't know what that was. So I've seen you go through a really long and faithful process of connecting with the people who know and love you the most, some of your closest friends, family, your board members, a variety of people who have spoken into this. So for us, this is a decision that has been a long time in the making, and yet for a lot of people, they're hearing it for the first time. So talk to us a little bit about the decision and just some of the things that you've processed, and maybe some of the things that people can expect moving forward.
Yes. Well, as Spoonful has grown, so has the job. And, I am the executive director, and with being an executive director, you steward the vision, but you are also fundraising, searching for grants, writing grants, emailing, meeting with a board, networking, all kinds of things that I feel are outside of my natural giftings. And the days of just kind of unlocking the studio and helping kids create, it's just not that simple. And as I've processed it, I think there's probably 70 to 80% of my job is just hard elements outside of my natural gifting. So it requires a lot of me, and it's been hard processing because so much of that work sets me up to do the parts I love. But yeah, all the fundraising and marketing and web design, like it's been a lot of work to get to that other 20 to 30% of where I feel like I do my best work. And it's been hard to process, and what we're just kind of coming to is it just feel like there's got to be an easier way that I can use my gifts and help people create and add back to my community that has me operating out of more of my natural giftings than out of such a place where it just pulls a lot and requires a lot.
Yeah. And so, I think to be clear, the piece that is shutting down is Spoonful Studio, which is the nonprofit portion of Spoonful of Imagination. The physical studio space on Winona Avenue is part of that, and so that will be closing. The nonprofit and the programs that go along with that will be closing. But as we've mentioned before, Spoonful of Imagination really started almost 14 years ago as a blog, you being this DIY creative, teaching other moms to create with their kids. And so I know for you, the creating isn't going to stop. I also know that once you've had some time to rest and just kind of recuperate and kind of get on the other side of some of this, that some of those creative muscles are going to want to flex again. So I imagine that you are going to be back in some way, shape, or form, creating in a big way, and I'm sure our community will benefit from that in some way. So Spoonful of Imagination will continue, and you're looking to kind of return back to the roots, back to some of the early day pieces. What does that look like?
Yes, just like you were saying, it began as a blog. We kind of experimented with YouTube. It was in the earlier days of YouTube. We did send some craft kits. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm just going back to my roots where I get to create and I get to help other people create. And that just allows a lot of margin to be more present with our kids. As we look back at pictures when the studio began, our kids were really young, and we now got big kids, and they don't want to be at the studio all day, every day, and do 8 summer camps in a row. They, have different interests and want to be home, and I want to be able to be home with them and be both physically present and mentally present. And just the running of Spoonful, that amount of work after teaching and prepping all day has just been like 5 full-time jobs. And so just kind of scaling back, and I don't really know exactly what will come, but just kind of scaling back to have some peace and get back to the roots of where I feel like I can do some of my best work.
Awesome. And as I've seen you, at the moment that you kind of really made the decision and the final decision on this, seeing some of that peace start to settle in, seeing you to create some margin has been exciting. And yet with that, you've also wrapped up this year of programming inside of the schools, finishing up 130 workshops inside the Warsaw schools, which is really cool. And so maybe some of you saw Erica's post where she was a little emotional, and now maybe you're understanding a little bit more of the emotion behind that, of knowing that for now this is going to be the end of that program for this season. So incredible job.
Thanks.
Proud of you, your team. You've done great work. I know that you have some plans for the month of June for people to come in and experience the studio maybe one last time before we shut everything down. So can you talk us through that just a little bit?
Yes, so we were kind of scaling back for the summer, but as we've kind of come to this conclusion, I know I would love to see you and your kids back in the studio one more time to experience it, to kind of have your own ending to this season. Life comes in seasons, and just feeling like let's do some things in June, and would love to invite you to be part of them. So we're going to put a schedule out below probably this message that just kind of has some walking in paint days that you guys may remember from our old open studio format, and then just a couple like tinker, more reusable material kind of projects as well. And so June will be really the last month to kind of experience us in the physical studio space, and then we have a number of community events and even some birthday parties that we are committed to finishing out strong. At this point, the last thing on our Spoonful calendar is being a part of Canal Days in September. So you'll still see us out and about for a little while doing things like that. But June will really be the last month to kind of come in and experience the studio. And would love to see you all, and as well as just be able to thank so many people in person.
Yeah.
This has been, I know, I will always consider some of my best days. It's been an honor to serve and to use my gifts to encourage my community in this way, and so many people helped be a part of it and allow us to do what we do. And so, I can't even name them all, but past board members, friends, sponsors, donors, businesses, our incredible landlord who must have thought we were crazy when we first walked into that space, and we were like, can we break this wall and rip up this carpet? And we were newer in town and didn't have our own kind of even family reputation, let alone business reputation. He opened the doors wide for us. So many people trusting us into your homes and with your kids. It's been one of my greatest honors. So thank you.
Well, again, thank you. Thanks for the work you've done. Thank you, many of you, as Erica said, the ways that you've supported this mission. And continue to stay in touch through Spoonful of Imagination on Facebook and Instagram, and see as Erica posts some of the schedule of things that will be available. And I don't know, anything else you have to say?
No.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all so much. We appreciate you. If you've made it to the end of this video, give yourself a prize because you deserve it. All right, thanks everybody.